Okay, so again, we talked about it earlier in the first slide, our punt return progression. We break it up into three parts: the line of scrimmage. Right at the line of scrimmage, we want to keep in punt return. We want to keep our target as square as we can at the line of scrimmage for as long as we can. Right, that technique that we use is called steer the car. One thing we drill into all of our guys is every second equals 10 yards. Right, the longer I can keep my guy square and thick in the line of scrimmage, that's going to equal 10 or more yards of space for our returner once he catches that football, which is huge. Right, we got a guy back there that's going to be dynamic with the ball in his hand. Right, so the more space that we can give him because we do a great job at the line of scrimmage, the better. Right, then the transition. Right, when we get in the transition, we want to be comfortable in low hip. Right, we want to trail. We call that our trail technique. All right, we want to be able to see our man and see the ball carrier. At that point in the transition, it's all about feel. Right, you got to get guys to understand where is the ball, where is the guy that you were responsible for, where's he going? Well, he's going to the ball. Right, so do I need to be pestering them, doing all these different things? No. As we get going on, I'll talk about why we do what we do and why I've kind of changed from how I was early on in my career. And then the third point, which is I think the most important point, is the finish. Right, maintain ball-man relationship at its simplest form. Right, and what we talk about there is sit, fit, and retrace. Okay, so that's the progression. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, so we're going to start with the line of scrimmage. Okay, so steering the car. All right, so the ball's already been snapped. This is a technique that we talk about when we're in contact with our hold up responsibility. All right, we want to stay square and thick. I mean, I want to be as much surface on his. I want to be heavy on him, square and thick. My shoulders inside of his shoulders. All right, we talk about sitting in the chair. Right, I don't want guys that are getting their head into it. That are standing straight legged. When we sit in the chair, we're in a great power stance, like you see in this picture right here. Right, we're in a great power stance. All right, power angles in our ankles, knees, and hips. All right, reverse arch in our back. All right, hands to the breastplate right there. Right, our head is out of it. We're sitting in the chair. I've never seen a guy that sits in his chair with his head straight down. Now we got our head up, right? Because ultimately, like we teach on punt, when your head gets into it, that's when you get snagged. Right? I feel like you're able to change direction really, really well in this position. It's no different than a basketball player who plays good defense. That I don't think anybody talks about anymore is playing defense in basketball. Right? But back in the day when I played, and my junior high, my JV or my varsity coach talked about, man, you sit in that chair and you get your head out of it when you're guarding somebody, right? Then as our guys try to release, we talk about strong hip and strong shoulder, right? When you do this strong hip and strong shoulders, all that means is the hip and the shoulder to the side that he's releasing to, right? That's the side we want to work strong hip, strong shoulder. The reason I think it's so important to talk about hips and shoulders is because if I want to beat a guy and my objective is to stay square and thick on a guy, well, if I work strong hip and strong shoulder to the side that he's trying to release to, right, that gets my feet moving. That's what's so important about steer the car is maintain a base and get those feet moving to stay square and thick on a guy. All right, so right here, this is our first drill that we do, day one in punt return. We pre-fit them in that position. We eliminate the stance. Right, this is a technique-driven drill. Right, so this is a drill that we want to see guys. Right, we want to isolate movements and we want to identify guys that can take power steps, maintain a base, and stay square and thick on their targets. Right here, they're pre-fitted. So punt return guys right there. He's got great physical ass leverage. He's got good bend in his ankles, knees, and hips. Reverse arch in his back. He's got a little bit of bend in his elbows, which is important. You don't want guys to get straight out. The straighter your arms get, the more likely you are to get out on your head and get snagged and get head heavy. All right, so he's already pre-fitted, sitting in the chair. All right, then on the whistle, the punt player will release on a 45. I think it's important when you do these drills to have guys work on a 45-degree angle, because ultimately that's where punt players are going. They're releasing upfield. They're not releasing laterally. Like you see a lot of these drills, guys are just going lateral side to side, right, which is fine and dandy. Allows guys to sit in a chair. But again, that's not what a punt guy's going to do. He's going to try and go here. All right, so right there, he's sitting in the chair. I love his strong hip, strong shoulder right here as he comes back. So now his strong hip, strong shoulder is his left hip, his left shoulder, right? Because this guy's releasing to his left. So he's got to beat him to the spot with that hip and shoulder to stay square and thick. Right, notice how he's taking 6-inch steps right there. He's not clicking his heels. Right, 6-inch steps, square and thick, works it back, square and thick, boom. Okay, pretty good picture right here. Just I don't like how straight out his arms are. I love his leverage right there. Right, but now just put a little bit more bend in your elbows. Really nice right there. Strong hip, strong shoulders. And right now you know he's going to counter back. Right now go beat him to the spot. Nice job right there. Look at his steps. Again, eliminate that click of your heels right there so you can change direction. But the objective is you want to have your cleats in the ground as quickly as possible, because again, when they change direction, if I have cleats in the ground, I'm going to be able to change direction too. All right, good base right there. All right, so now next drill that we do is our hold up component. So now we implement the stance and start of it. Okay, so now we're going to do this drill on the ball. You got the snapper there, you got the punt guy there. All right, now we're down in our gap. We talk to our guys about when you know your target responsibility is blocking down, we want to get down in that gap a little bit more to use his protection against him. Every punt team at the end of the day talks about the same thing, and that's protect first and cover second. And because we're such a heavy rush team and we bring a lot of pressures, right, we want to use that against teams, right? Because they're ultimately going to be keyed into our rush looks, right? Our stance is going to look the same. So in our punt return stance, we talk about knee over toe, chest over knee, right? We want to be in a speed stance, right? You want to almost be like a receiver in a versus a press technique. You want to have a little bit of width with that man side foot or the target side foot, your foot nearest to your responsibility back, right? And you want to have some width to it away from that separation. You don't want to be stacked or I formation with your feet right there. You're going to fall step out of that stance. All right. When we hold up, right, we want to step to our target's crotch. Okay. Got to understand though that your target's crotch is going to be moving. It's not where he is initially. It's going to be where he's coming. So if we know our target's blocking down, we're going to be down the gap, right? Really, until you just only have to step straight ahead or a little bit on a 45-degree angle towards his crotch. You shouldn't have to step too wide with it. You don't want to step too wide because now you're going to end up passing the midline and end up on his far number right there. Okay, so step to our target's crotch. So at the simplest form, you're just going to speed the power. How quickly can we go speed the power? How efficiently can we do it without false stepping out of our stance? Right? And then if you get that knee over your toe, you grab and grasp that upfield foot, you shouldn't false step a whole lot. Then we shoot our hands at breastplate, thumbs up, knuckles out right there. All right, grabbing onto that breastplate, white knuckling that thing, and at that point we're square and thick, and we're just working our steer the card technique. Okay, so here it is right here. All right, so again, we talk about our stance for riffing the football. We don't want to be staring in at the football, right? Because if our target's blocking out, the time it takes me to snap my eyes to his near number, right, he's probably got a whole step on the ground, and I got to change direction. Okay, we do a great job, and our guys do a great job of watching, studying film, understanding where punt teams are going based on their stances and all that stuff, or when they come out and just point. All right, but again, right here, all right, it's off the ball. Okay, so good stance right here. I love his demeanor. Like that's a lush demeanor in the stance. Right, he knows his target's blocking down, so he's down the gap a little bit. Steps to his target's crotch. Right, get that second step in the ground. You're just going to speed the power as quickly as you can. I like to see him shoot his hands a little bit faster. Right, don't hop into it. All right, now right there, he's square and thick on his target. His target goes to release out. Now it just turns into that steer the card drill. Strong hip, strong shoulder back. I love right here. He's not clicking his heels. Right, he's maintaining power steps, 6-inch steps. Second step mirrors his first step. Now he's working back. All right, right here. Okay, seeing the ball. Love his get off right there. I like to see a little bit. Move that false step a little bit. That's pretty clean right there. Right, but the most important phase right here is his body position. Right, I can live with a little bit of false step if guys get great body position and get speed to power as fast as they can. All right, important point of this when we're steering the car and at line of scrimmage, I don't want guys thinking to drive a guy. Right, that's why we emphasize so much of how fast can you go speed to power and sit in a chair. Right, because the more you think that you teach guys to drive, the more it gets their head into it. And now you're going to get guys snagged a whole lot, which is what I used to coach. That's right there. He does a great job of going speed to power. I love his hand placement right there. Tight with his hands, thumbs up, knuckles out right there. Now he's square and thick, strong hip, strong shoulder back, strong hip, strong shoulder. Look at his base the whole time through that. 6-inch steps, not hopping. Right, that's a really, really good rep. Other piece of this too, punt guys, it's half the battle. Right, the look is half the battle. All right, taking power steps, kind of giving him his chest right there. But now he's trying to apply the pressure and go on a 45-degree angle so we can feel that strong hip, strong shoulder. All right, we got to service each other in drills.